Welcome back to Mets Daily. I'm your host, Jake Brown, at Jake Brown Live on all social media. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, smash that thumbs up, and scan that code to become a Mets Daily Insider for just $5 a month. Follow me at Jake Brown Live on TikTok, X, subscribe to my YouTube, and on Instagram as well. Thank you so much for watching today. It's Tuesday, October 27th, 2025. Thank you so much for your support, guys. Off-season shows have been doing really well. Appreciate it. You know, we're the only show going every day, 10 minutes a day. None of these 45-minute, hour podcasts. You hear a guy rambling who doesn't know what he's talking about for an hour. Let's keep it 10 minutes, short, sweet, to the point. And let's just say this. The Phillies. It's going to be a major shakeup this offseason if this series keeps going the way it is. You know, like I continue to say, the Dodgers are a juggernaut. They're the Avengers. This is a terrible matchup for the Phillies, and, you know, they're one game away from being swept. I mean, what another awful October performance it feels like for the Phillies here who, you know, massive does Schwarber come back? Do they move on from Castellanos? Do they bring back Real Muto in free agency? How many times are they going to keep running it back just to be an early playoff exit? So, you know, as someone who lives in the Philly area now, I'm not mad about it because I've never heard the end of it from the comments and people saying, look, we won the division, blah, blah, blah. Well, you guys got to win a playoff game before you talk. Win a playoff game first. A guy who won't win a playoff game in a Mets uniform ever again is Jeff McNeil. It's time. It's been time. The Mets have to move on this offseason. I've talked about it endlessly. I think it's a lock. It's going to happen, but I just want to confirm that it will happen and it must happen. The Mets have to trade Jeff McNeil. Jeff McNeil is who he is. The batting champion year was great. That's the only thing we ever talk about. That was 2023. Next year, that would have been 4 years ago. You know, since then, he has just regressed as a baseball player. That year was fantastic. That's why he got the contract he did. But the reality is this: Jeff McNeil is not and will not ever be that player ever again. There's no shift. He can't hit it where they ain't. And Jeff McNeil is what he is now. He's really a 240 hitter with a just over 300 on base who will hit you 10 to 12 homers, driving 40 to 50, won't steal bases, won't play elite defense. It's just not worth keeping him around anymore. And, you know, listen, he had 38 of his 97 hits were extra bases. You know, he hit 243, a 335 on base percentage. The guy's going to be turning 34 years old in April. You know, he's towards the end of his career. He's probably got a couple years left in the tank. Jeff McNeil is a $15.75 million contract next year, and then a club option for the same number in 2027, which I'm sure whoever ends up with him will opt out. That has a $2 million buyout. But the reality is he had some good memories here. He's not good for this clubhouse. He's not good for this team. He does not make this team better. And I know he was able to play center field and left field. Maybe that's a value for a smaller market team. But the Mets will have an easier time now with 1 year left on that deal if they can maybe eat half of that. If they eat 7-8 million of the 15.75, maybe to either put him in a package or a 1-for-1, whatever it may be, get a back-end reliever for him, you know, maybe to the Royals. Or you get a deal done for Brandon Lau, who also has a similar $11 million deal. Maybe they line it up where the Mets, you know, pay half of it. They give him McNeil, and, you know, the Rays move on with McNeil for a season in that ballpark. Maybe he hits well there. But the Mets have to end the Jeff McNeil era. He is more focused on golf than he is baseball. That attitude is just piss poor. I mean, still with the crying after an out, getting thrown out of games, screaming, crying when he grounds out. It is just so awful for this clubhouse. And the Mets got to get younger, and they should get younger. And a way they can get younger is Gleyber Torres. You know, Gleyber Torres is an intriguing name. He's a free agent. Gleyber Torres will be 29 years old in December. So you go about, 5 years younger, to, 4 to 5. Jeff McNeil will be 34. Gleyber will be 29. So you go a full 5 years younger in Gleyber Torres, who was an all-star this season. And Gleyber tailed off in the second half. You know, his numbers were still respectable, though. 16 homers, 74 RBIs, 256 average, a 358 on base. This is a guy who has a tremendous eye. He does not swing at pitches out of the zone. And when you think about Gleyber Torres and Juan Soto both in the same lineup, two guys who are going to make a pitcher work and make pitchers, throw as many pitches as possible, I think Stearns, I think the Mets could love that if they don't opt to go internal. If it's not Acuna, if it's not Mauricio, if it's not Beatty, maybe they sign Gleyber Torres, they trade Jeff McNeil, and maybe Beatty ends up being your third baseman with Ronnie Mauricio. Maybe they go that route. But Gleyber Torres is going to be an interesting name to keep an eye on at free agency because I think he could be a kind of player the Mets like. A Latin player as well. Maybe he vibes well with Soto. Maybe the Mets go that route. He made $15 million this year. Now, at 29 years old, as a free agent, he's probably going to want a few years. I think his struggles in the second half might hurt him. The second base market has not been great to free agents. Free agent second basemen have not been getting that bag. So maybe they could get Gleyber Torres for 2 years, $30 million. I do think, and you look at his baseball savant, they're much better than Jeff McNeil. You look at his chase percentage, it's 100%. Like, this guy does not, he has the best chase rate or not chasing pitches in all of Major League Baseball. His walk percentage is 95% on Baseball Savant. So, if you look at his numbers in Baseball Savant, it's the kind of numbers that GMs might drool at. If I'm the Mets, I take a look at Gleyber Torres, depending on what happens. Obviously, try and get McNeil out. That's step one. But Gleyber Torres in free agency intrigues me. I got to imagine Carlos Mendoza knows him. Maybe Mendoza shies away because he didn't like him in a Yankee uniform. That could be a thing too. But, if Mendoza vouches for Gleyber, we've seen the Mets go out and go get the Yankees. They went out and got Soto. They went out and got Clay Holmes. Could Gleyber be that guy? His defense, spotty at times, but so is Jeff McNeil. Again, you could have a late game defensive replacement if you do keep Acuna in the system as your late game defense guy. But I think Gleyber is actually a much of an improvement over Jeff McNeil when it comes to a batter. So let us know in the comments below. Do you think the Mets should sign Gleyber Torres in free agency? Always leave those comments below because once again on today's show, we're going to read your comments from Monday's show. So keep on commenting, keep on subscribing, and keep smashing that thumbs up. It helps the channel, it helps the videos, so keep on doing it. So let's go to your comments. And again, if you're an Apple user or Spotify user, you can always listen on those platforms. YouTube is where you get the aesthetically pleasing in terms of the graphics. Now, you can think what you want about me. You might think you don't want to look at me. You'd rather listen, or neither. We appreciate your support either way, but these are the YouTube comments that we do read. So definitely check us out on YouTube if you're an audio. I think most people are video people because we just launched audio a few months ago. So we're going to go to yesterday's comments. Let's get it. Here we go. So for Monday, October 6th, Mets Daily, Elliot Monagas 637 says, why is someone not working with Pete on his throwing? He's a hard-nosed player who is incredible at scooping. Now, he's good at scooping. I wouldn't throw the word incredible out there. I think the coach is working on it. I think it's a mental thing, Elliot. I think it's just a thing where it happened a few times and now he's got the yips with it because, it's not the most difficult thing to throw a ball 10 feet from wherever he is at first to the pitcher or throw to a base. It's not the hardest thing in the world to do. I think it's a mental thing at this point. And like we said, Pete Alonso just is not a good defensive player. There's a reason people are like, make him a DH, make him a DH. He has an ego. There is an arrogance there where he wants to be out there every day at first baseman. He likes playing the field. And I don't know if Pete's going to agree to go to a team if they're going to say to him, you're going to be our full-time DH. I don't think he wants that. So he also knows what it means in free agency. He doesn't have as much value. He's not going to make as much money if he's just a designated hitter. So I think that plays a part as well. But I don't know if it's that they haven't worked with him. I just think he just isn't that good at it. I could work all the time in the world to be a good singer. I may not just have it. And listen, I don't really have it. I think I have a good speaking voice. I don't really have a good singing voice. I think I do in the shower, but sometimes you're just not good at things, and maybe he's just not good at it. From Mo1 Beta. Hey, brother, as a huge Mets fan, I tapped in with your Mets content. I subscribed recently and enjoy your layout and content as well. Best wishes. Keep up the solid work. LGM. Thank you so much, Mo1 Beta. Appreciate you. Better late than never. You're here. We're going to be here all off season, taking you through this ride with us. So thank you so much for your support and appreciate you hopping on. And thank you for commenting the layout. That's something we work on every day here at Mets Daily. From our Mets Daily insider, Shakamoto, he says Senga was injury prone in Japan too. It hurts to say it, but this isn't new. I love Senga. So there's some Japanese insight. He was not healthy in Japan. He hasn't been healthy in a Mets uniform. So you got to wonder, is it time, like we discussed yesterday, for the Mets to move on from Senga? From Steven, alt account 9476. Hey man, enjoying the show, but please don't go down the rabbit hole of clickbait, over-exaggerated titles. Schwarber replacing Alonso if he doesn't Re-sign with the Mets has been a very front of mind topic for many fans and analysts. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you for the compliment and then the not compliment. I'll say this, guys. I have not made a single headline. If it's a normal headline, I probably switched it. That is fan art. That is, this is me and them work on this together. So they create the headlines that they think will do best. And I agree. They're very clickbaity. I don't like them, but that's not on me. So don't shoot the messenger here, guys. I have not made any of those headlines. They take care of that. They know the YouTube numbers and algorithms better than I do, and it seems to be working, but I'm with you. I don't like them either. I'm going to do my best moving forward to tell them, I try some days to pick out a headline it's on topic, like the coaching staff one recently, but again, I don't make the headlines, so don't blame me about that. Robert Ninmartin 2668, Ray Sears for pitching coach. Sears been out of the league since 2019, so I don't think he's going to. I don't know if the Mets want to go. That's like saying go to Willie Randolph, who's been out of the league for over a decade. I think the Mets want someone who's been in the league recently. With all the technology and rule changes and everything, I think it's better you have someone who's coached recently. From Black Caesar 4347, Alonso's a better player than Kyle Schwarber. Kyle Schwarber is one of the worst fielders of all time. Pete is the league average first baseman. They are not the same player. Put some respect on Pete Alonso's name. Well, the reality is, if you sign Kyle Schwarber, is Caesar, if that's your name, Schwarber will be your DH. I'm not looking at Schwarber to replace him at first base. I'm looking to replace him in the power department. And when you talk about power, Pete Alonso is not in Kyle Schwarber's weight class. Kyle Schwarber is more of a power hitter than Pete Alonso. So the Mets would go a different route at first base if they signed Kyle Schwarber. From Renee Metz 399, what's up, Jake? Enjoy your show. Keep up the great work. Thank you so much, Renee Metz. Appreciate you following along. XX Killer Dog XX says, I thought it was hilarious. He is talking about Juan Soto's Cancun post on his Instagram story. I think it was funny. I just think it's still a little sour at the time that he did it. And Renee Metz says, Alonso DH, Naylor first base. Again, I just think Alonso's ego is going to get in the way. I don't think he wants to be a DH. I think he wants to be a first baseman, whether that's with the Mets or elsewhere. So I don't think the Mets sign both Naylor and Alonso. I don't think there's any chance they bring both those guys. Because listen, Naylor might get 15 to 18 to 20 million. Alonso gets 25 to 30. You're going to go 50 million at DH and first. I don't know the Mets want to go that route when they have other holes to fill. Well, thank you so much for watching. Hit that subscribe, smash that thumbs up. I'm Jake Brown at Jake Brown Live. Thank you so much for watching Mets Daily, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. And go Blue Jays.